to appreciate.
I just want to say that in the middle of this interview, I want to thank you for being such a good person to interview because I have asked nothing that I've planned to ask, and you gave me so much content to go off of. And some people I interview, like they just don't know what to say, and I understand because a lot of people don't know how to. A lot of people like just don't know how to converse with other people. But you have just given me so much, and I feel like that's a talent in itself to just know how to talk. Like I feel like if you got in trouble with the cops, you could definitely talk your way out of it. Like I feel like you would like you would like they would be talking to you about a murder. You would started talking about how you want like some vegan restaurant or something. They're like, oh, I'm pretty hungry too. Like they forget you even killed somebody. So I feel like you give so much just great things and great talking points. That is amazing. And it's just a couple things that like I did want to get into before we got to the fan questions and we ended this. And one of those things where you are a person that like the answer to this question might be because you don't primarily cover hip hop. You cover every genre. There's a lot of white people on earth. A lot of white people do a lot of things. Some of those white people cover hip hop. You cover hip hop sometimes, and a lot of these people that cover hip hop that are white are either called cops, culture vultures, racist, and everything in between that's not good. I feel like you specifically have received the less of that, like the good end of that stick. Like you don't get it that much from what I see. Maybe you get it all the time, but I feel like in comparison to people like people that you got to interview, Adam 22, somebody like Vlad, and just various other white people, they get it way more. Is there a reason you think you get it a little bit less than they do?
I will say at first when I began reviewing hip hop on the channel, which again I didn't start doing that. Not that I didn't love the genre before, but I didn't feel as comfortable reviewing it as I did rock and pop music. Which when I started the channel, it's not even a limitation to hip hop because at the start of the channel, I decided I wasn't even going to review mainstream music. I'm just going to review underground rock records, because I don't know. I thought if I reviewed too many things, like that would just be confusing, and that, again, nobody was really doing this before I was doing it, in such a way where it was huge or blew up. So, there was no handbook. Nobody said this is how you do it. This is what you do. This is what you don't do. I had to figure it all out. So, I thought at first, like, I was kind of uncomfortable with reviewing, not just hip hop, but metal music a lot of the time, electronic music a lot of the time, because I thought it would just be too different, too outside. It would be harder to find an audience. Like, I didn't really know.
Yeah.
So, I didn't feel 100% comfortable with reviewing it, and it did make me even more uneasy doing so when I started to cover it. Around 2010, I was getting a lot of reactions like, you don't really like the genre, why the fuck are you reviewing it? Your opinions on all this shit are like super stupid and head ass and all this other stuff, although I don't think people use that term then, but whatever. It didn't help. And then when I did the My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy review, even though I had done some hip-hop reviews up until that point that were positive, like I think I gave the new Roots album a super positive review, How I Got Over that year, which is a great album. But, I had said to myself, okay, like, I'm reviewing bigger rock records and pop records at this point. I'm reviewing underground stuff. I am reviewing rap records when they're big and they're relevant. But if I'm going to go forward into 2011, continuing to review hip-hop, I cannot continue just reviewing the most mainstream popular stuff. Yeah. Like, I know there's great hip-hop out there. I know there's great underground hip-hop out there. I used to listen to a ton of it in high school and college. But, I had just sort of convinced myself to focus on this rock and pop stuff for the channel right then and there. And I said, if I continue to go forward, I have to review more underground, up-and-coming rap artists. And 2011 just so happened to be when, Kendrick came up, Danny Brown came up, Lil B was making a lot of noise too. I think I reviewed Milo's mixtape. I wish my brother was here around that time and, put some gas in the tank for his career. That's when Death Grips came up too. So, in 2011, there just so happened to be, at this time that I decided to start covering it more intently, like, this really huge groundswell of, like, great underground and sort of up-and-coming rap artists on the internet. A$AP Rocky, dropped that year, too, with the Live Love A$AP tape. So there were a lot of great and exciting up-and-comers that dropped that year. which I hopped on that wave immediately. If I didn't decide to sort of make that decision right then and there, I don't think I would have. I guess I'd probably still be stuck in that position where I don't have the appreciation for the contemporary stuff that I do now, and I would probably also still be getting that terminology thrown at me because I think a lot of people came to realize that you may not agree with everything that I say. I may come from a different background than a lot of other rappers do, but I can still appreciate the genre. I appreciate what makes it great. I appreciate when a fantastic record does come out for the most part. And, I have used my platform to celebrate those albums when they do come out and they are great. I've come out and said, Good Kid, Mad City is an amazing record. I've come out and I've said, To Pimp a Butterfly is one of the best records as far as the genre is concerned of the decade. And, that's just the tip of the iceberg as far as, like, super positive hip-hop records that I praised. And also, I've done what I can to put artists on in the genre. I've literally used my platform to boost the careers of artists who before didn't really have much going on in terms of buzz or attention. And I, personally know that from my reviews, there are at least a handful of artists who have gotten signed, because the PR person came up to me afterward and said, hey, we didn't know who this was before your review. We thought they were great. We thought they were amazing. We signed them. And, there are also instances that I can note. I'm having a bit of a brain fart here. Where I didn't necessarily blow the person up or anything like that, but I said that artist was really great early on. And then they went on to do, like, amazing things. So I think I've sort of proven myself in that I have an appreciation, I have a respect, even though you may think some of my reviews are harsh, I appreciate and I respect the art form. And, I would like to think that that's why, that terminology is thrown at me as much these days. It still does here and there, but, I would like to think that's partially why. I can't speak for, the audience, obviously. I don't know why, if you're telling me as an outsider, who's observing it from an eagle-eye view, that terminology is being used less on me than it is on, like, DJ Vlad or Adam 22, like, I'll trust you on that. But, I can tell you why I think it's not happening to me as much. I don't so much know why the crowd would continue to sort of say that to them. You'd have to ask somebody else.
Yeah.
But